I wonder what expression you'll have. Disgust? Embarrassment? Neutral? Septem smiles and plants a kiss on you, a tender and delicate contact. Stop! Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Espoir David, and in the last video we experienced Act 2 of Unum's route in the game to eat a god. In this video, I want to continue Septem's route. You know, the tall, imposing, blonde guy who speaks in echoes. So this is starting a little bit within Act 1, but there's a lot of lore here, and I think we should go over it. It's time for dinner. Are we going to follow this routine every day? Quiet me, I mean me in the game. Espoir, were you the one who asked that question? Lie to cover up the puppet? I mean, they did say. they did say to, cover up the puppet. Yes? We kind of both asked it at the same time. The idea is that the puppets can obtain energy to function properly, both mine and yours. If you recall, we met a nice young man named Raphael, I think, who looks exactly like Septem and was sleeping in a hidden-off room. Do you have a puppet? Something like that. Septem begins to approach you. His angelic face is an antithesis to the aura he transmits. Look, I really want you to understand what's happening and why you are vital to the garden's recovery. And I wouldn't want to omit vital information for your decision-making when the vessel change begins. I will implant my memories into the puppet to make it simple. Septem places his left hand on your forehead. You can skip this information below if you're not interested. I think you have something to do with that. Nola once talked about it. The skip button, I think that's its name. No, I want that lore. In the beginning, everything was darkness, nothing itself. When the Creator arrived, there was light. And that was where my existence began. Although having light, it allowed us to see the shadows. It was there that we realized the existence of Nola. Nola was just in here enjoying his darkness, and then all this light came out of nowhere, and then the light said, "Get out, you!" He who had been in this place before my existence and the Creator's arrival in the garden, waiting. Nola and the Creator were talking for a long time, and I, still a being without knowledge of anything, did not understand them. But I am sure of one thing, and that is that Nola seemed to not respect the Creator. He treated them as an equal, raising his voice and even putting his dirty hands on them. Then the Creator gave me the mission to create the symbols to keep the garden running. So that is what I did. On Monday, I gave life to the sun, but you know it as Unum. Tuesday was the firmament and the stars, Due. On Wednesday, the earth and the plants were created, Tria. Tria, why did you put stuff on all your food that makes me die? On Thursday, the moon was created, Quator, just as bright as the sun at first. It's a shame the fight Unum started. Before putting order, everything was chaos. If only I could have intervened. Maybe Quator would still have her 4 eyes. By taking away 2 of her eyes, the moon stopped shining and now rises when the sun sets. On Friday, all creatures were created, and a symbol was set up to represent them, Quinque. Finally, on Saturday, my dear Septem was born along with humanity. Oh, she seems nice. Are we going to get to meet her? Sunday was a day of rest. I spent all day observing the operation of the garden, but I did not have a physical body to experience everything I had created. Oh, so Septem wasn't like that in the beginning. And for a long time, I was like this. Until Septem told me about transfusing my essence into a human. But to do this, I had to leave my existence behind and start living as a human. So I did. I instantly realized my mistake. When humans are conceived, they are given a soul that is distributed by the garden or mother. Making the transfusion results in a mixture of the human soul and the essence of the deity that makes it. So, is that kind of what my babies with Unum are? Would they be as powerful as Septem? So this body is not completely mine. What do you need me for? I no longer have control of the garden.
Oh, 'cause he's in the body. 'Cause he's not floaty Septem anymore. He's half-human Septem. Right?
After the creator vanished, the garden began to wither. The first sign was the disappearance of the children of Septem, the humans who gave us genuine devotion.
Oh.
In the chaos, Nola reappeared and filled me in on everything about our world and the creator. Then he taught me of the existence of other worlds abandoned by the creator in a state equal to ours. I'm only slightly sure, but I love how this sounds like an artist or a game developer or a writer who makes a bunch of stories and then abandons them for like new stories, or maybe they lost their inspiration and then the stories kind of converge on their own. That's so cool, I love that. But the difference is that they had humans, so we implemented ourselves in their culture, and we consumed their devotion directly, every last Saturday of the month. And with you here, it won't be necessary to continue with this. If we unite in a transfusion, you will grant me the authority to manipulate the garden for myself. No, at our whim. We can save this world and prevent Nulla from destroying everything. Look, none of the symbols knows the sad truth that we are nothing more than a world that pretends to be organic. All they know is that our world is dying. To you, it may be a game, but for me and my people, it is their home. To you, it may be a game, but for me and my people, it is our home. Even though everything is a lie, I want them to live in the best conditions, for the garden to return to what it once was. I want to do everything possible to avoid the inevitable. Now that you know, do you accept the deal?
Nola wants to destroy everything, but is accepting Septem's deal the right thing to do? It doesn't seem as bad as you thought. Maybe it's just a bit maladaptive. After all, he does what he believes is right, always following etiquette and rules because that's all he knows. But on the other hand,
Oh boy, here's a tough one. Well, I know I'll die if I decline, right? So, I could reject him and summon Raphael. I don't know what that'll do. I want to save that for last. I don't know what would be the best option. Sure? I accept, hesitantly. Septem extends his hand to you, and you take it firmly. You feel like electricity is running through your body, and Septem's smile grows bigger with each passing second. I'll start with the preparations. After that, Septem teleports you to your room to end the day. As you settle into bed, he tells you that tomorrow you'll dine without his company until dinner. And he leaves the room without further explanation, politely saying goodbye to you. Why do I feel like I've made the wrong choice? You close your eyes, hoping to fall asleep instantly. But it takes you a while. Wait, what? Is that the person from the beginning? You see a figure appear in the darkness. But when you focus your eyes on the figure, it vanishes. The shock makes you fall to the ground.
Ah! So pretty!
Hello, Espoir. I see that you have made a decision. There's no point in insisting any further. I suppose Septem's ideology has always been the right one. And our plan is the most selfish and easiest to execute.
Huh? I'm sorry, pretty person. I do not know what you're talking about. I'm just sitting here.
Who are you? Why do you speak to me? You hear a dry laugh. What, can't a mother have a conversation with her child?
Are you my mummy? I have children and a cool mom. This game is the best.
I am the mother of your puppet, the first puppet made from my flesh and fragments of Nula's soul to be able to contain you. That's probably very important. And likewise, I am the mother of the garden. I can only communicate with Nula thanks to the stupid laws decreed by the Creator. So the only communication I have with the outside is with Nula, and no, he's not very open to hearing other solutions now that you're here. But I can reach you thanks to the puppet, and with you here out of Nula's reach, I can get what I want without harming anyone within the garden. If you get the chance, tell Septem to let me go. If you speak with Septem, perhaps he can come up with something to get me out of this darnation.
Have you been condemned?
Yes, it was the Creator, or Father, whichever you call him here. He and I were equal, both omnipresent deities created by a being from the higher plane. Although it's not worth discussing this being, since no one here can lay hands on him, as is the case with you, Espoir.
Man, Nula can't put his hands on me.
What happened was that the Creator, seeing my history, deemed me dangerous to the inhabitants of the garden for having opened my Nula's eyes in times past.
What's that? Is that some lore?
Therefore he condemned me to be segregated and to sustain the garden with my body. I both love and hate the garden. I am alive because of it. I have a connection with every entity in the garden, each and every one. I feel everything from 1 to 7. I feel their agony. I make placebos. I bring humans with Nula's help, all to avoid feeling their collective pain, even if it means breaking my physical body over and over again. It's useless. I can't get out of here. I can't protect my children. I can't even have a conversation with them. And yet, I know them like the back of my hand. I know Due's worries. I know Tria's anger. Quinkay's loneliness. I know how broken Septem is.
Oh.
I can feel and hear their prayers, desperately begging their father to come back and fix everything. But he is not going to come. He's out getting the milk, and I have a feeling he's not coming back. He's too proud for that. And honestly, he doesn't care. Septem is just one among many. Mother sighs heavily, and her aura shifts. I have no problem letting the garden keep living. But my individuality, my being, and omnipresence can no longer endure. So please, tell Septem to strip me of my individuality, to leave my body in the void, eventually in an endless cycle of destruction and regeneration. I know my body and essence must be present, but my individuality is not necessary. I know Septem can do something now that he has you here. I trust he can fix it. Now that he has new eyes that are not tied to the Creator, they can heal and eliminate all of the Creator's curses. And if you get the chance, I want you to break the eyes of each of the symbols.
How am I gonna do that, pretty lady?
Including Septem.
So I gotta poke out all their eyes? All right.
I won't risk that bastard noticing the change of command, because I don't know how he might react. Something prevents you from staying in the dream. It's Septem's voice, heard in the distance.
Ah!
You open your eyes abruptly, searching for the cause of the near-mini heart attack you're experiencing. Septem is nowhere to be found in your room. It must have been part of the dream. Espoir, it's time for the puppet to go eat. Or perhaps not. You struggle to get up. It seems you haven't rested at all. You walk through the corridors like a robot, knowing exactly where the dining hall is. Oh yeah, I've been here for a while. Upon arrival, the dishes appear in the blink of an eye. Today, I won't dine with you. Oh, strange.
You sit down and eat in silence. Bite after bite, you finish your breakfast. Unsure of what to do, you get up. Find Septem, wait until dinner. Well, I'm nosy, so let's go look for him. You have nothing to do but search for Septem. That's either it, or wait until dinner to the end of the day. Just sit here? For hours? This is starting to bore you a bit. You roam the entire lower level of the temple, with little success. The room where Septem sleeps is open and unoccupied. It doesn't even seem to have been used today. Where's Raphael? And that's strange. You wonder if he might be on the second floor of the temple. After all, you didn't traverse the entire corridor you saw earlier. Making one last attempt, you climb the stairs in search of Septem. You don't hold much hope in finding him. You honestly think he's outside the domain. You walk down the corridor, taking in all it has to offer, which isn't much. Dude, we still need to put some posters up or something. Until you reach the end of the corridor and come across an open door, one of those that should be closed. You hesitate before entering, but Septem said you could roam his domain, and you don't consider it a transgression to enter an open door. Yeah, it's practically inviting you in. Yeah, let me just save my game real quick. Upon entering, the first thing you see is a multitude of shelves filled with books. Then you notice papers on the floor, scattered and abandoned. Aww. Looking further, you see Septem at what appears to be his desk. It's spacious, but cluttered with books and documents, hindering its effective use. The eyes on Septem's face don't look directly at you, yet you feel that the eyes adorning his halo do. Espoir, do you need anything? He speaks to you without lifting his face or eyes from the document he's reading, and it's then that you notice his eyes are red and dark circles are beginning to appear. Aww. Haven't you slept, Pookie? Septem stops looking at the paper and offers his tired gaze. No. That's the only thing he tells you before once again fixing his eyes on the document. If you've come here out of boredom, you can read something from the library, but you must go elsewhere to read it. All right.
Can't I stay here?
No. Aw. Take a book and leave, please. Oh, all right. Not feeling like tempting fate, you head to the first shelf you find and pull out the first book you see. Great. It doesn't even have a title or anything. But you don't want to linger any longer, so you leave the library at a slow pace. You figure that going to your room is the best idea. It's an old book, like a diary. You know it's handwritten, but it features various typefaces within. It appears to be a conversation between two people, although you can't make out its content, since you're unable to read the content, so you focus on examining the drawings. I don't get it. They depict places, entities, and a few familiar faces.
Nulla!
You see Nulla on a few pages. Could it be Septem who wrote this? Did he draw that too? Upon reaching the final sections, you notice something, and it's an emergence of two names, their appearance varying with the typeface. Is this a conversation between the two of them? You don't have time to think, as you feel a strange pressure in your body. As if it were forbidden material, you slam the book shut and stow it in the bedside drawer. To calm yourself, you decide to wander the temple to pass the time. You're called to have lunch, and afterwards, you function on autopilot. Accustomed to this routine, you wander the corridors in Septem's temple once more, without any particular reason. You pass the library once again, and Septem remains there. Dude, you want me to bring you up a cinnamon roll or something? You're not so out of it as to bother him again. So you head back to your room. At this rate, you'll go crazy. Dude, give me a board game or something. Give me a Game Boy. You don't know how many hours have passed, yet Septem's voice interrupts your meditation. Espoir, come here for a moment. What's up? Septem doesn't wait, as you're teleported
to just centimeters from him. You take 2 steps back to respect your personal space, and you have to tilt your head up to see his eyes. I've convened a meeting with the Daughters of the Garden. They want to meet you.
Me?
Aw, wait, they're not going to eat me, are they? Listen well. They have no idea that this is just a game to you. You must act as the new creator. Septem's voice trembles slightly, as if the thought of a new creator makes him anxious. A replacement. If you behave, I'll do something entertaining for you later. His smile sends a shiver through your entire body, from your fingertips down to your stomach. Before you go, you must proceed carefully. The space will begin to distort. If it's too much for your puppet, you can... Septem brings his hands to his halo and pulls out one of his eyes. As you do.
Did he just tear out an eye?
Septem watches you for a moment. This will help recalibrate its senses. Septem offers you the eye as if it were nothing special. I mean, he does have a... Is he giving us an eye? I'm not giving it to you, so you can keep it.
Aw.
Having more than 2 symbols in one place creates chaos, and for a mortal body, that's dangerous. Septem closes both his eyes and begins to recite while gesturing with his free hand. I grant part of my essence to Espoir's puppet for the duration of the meeting. You will be an extension of me, and I will be an extension of your puppet. We will be united in a weak, temporary bond.
Oh, thank you.
Septem opens his eyes again and stops making the gestures. If this works, we'll be able to... Septem stops speaking, as if debating whether to continue, and without further explanation, the eye is absorbed by your body, and I feel something change inside of me.
Espoir? Espoir, why can't I feel you? It's all right, puppet, just relax.
I close my eyes trying to find you, but you're not there. What is this? His voice carries a hint of terror. I wish it always had that tone. You are an extension of him. What did you do with Espoir?
I don't know. What are you talking about?
Wait, what? Septem grabs me by my shoulders and starts squeezing tightly. He talks to me as if it's my fault and not his. What are you talking about? It's your fault. Your darn eye did something that broke the connection between Espoir and me. Wait, which Espoir? Me Espoir? Oh wait, the puppet's Espoir. I'm me. Espoir is the puppet. Okay. I'm going to... Ah! I lunge at him without thinking. Nothing else matters now. I grab one of his wings and pull. And it hurts me too. But I don't care. Listen, Espoir, calm down. I said calm down. I throw a punch with my other hand straight at his stupid face. Before my fist can connect with his cheek, he stops me by grabbing my hand with his. Ah! Breaking my wrist in one squeeze. It hurts like 1,000 demons, and I can't help but scream. The scream makes Septem let go and look at me with wide eyes. I examine the damage to my hand. It's broken. Hey, his hand is getting all dark too. And I can't move the joints in my fingers. My hand is no longer functional. I'm no useful to Espoir if they ever return. It can't be. Septem fixes his gaze on his hand for a moment, then looks at me in surprise. Have I hurt you?
Of course, you imbecile.
Espoir is still here then. That shouldn't have hurt you without their presence and eyes. No, look at me. Wait, I'm confused. Did I get it wrong? Am I Espoir and me is me? What's my puppet's name? No, look at me. I look into Septem's eyes. Even though his expression intimidates and disgusts me, I don't want to suffer any more harm. After a few seconds of uncomfortable inspection, Septem smiles. Your pupils remain white. You're still under their control. It seems we've only diminished their influence. Wait, whose influence? Me or the puppet? That means they saw me act that way. How embarrassing
It's alright, Espoir. It's alright, or me.
I'm not going to heal your hand, and I don't think I'll forget this tremendous offense.
I swallow hard, imagining the horrific tortures that could be inflicted on me. And he surely will. Don't you hurt my puppet, Septem. They're doing their best.
All right, come with me.
Septem begins to walk without waiting to see if I follow him. Sighing, I follow him, but Septem stops abruptly and turns to look at me.
Wait, it would be odd for the new creator to be injured. They will ask me why. Septem will surely pester until she finds out.
Will he heal me? I can't help but flash a smug smile at him. I'll be fully functional for Espoir once again. Ah, I'm so happy. Septem makes a face of disgust, but says nothing. And he simply places both his hands on my broken hand. A strange sensation courses through my body, and I can feel the broken and missing parts settling back into place. Thanks, Septem. Septem's expression remains one of disgust. It's laughable. But it fades instantly, as if he remembered something, and his face softens into a smile that reveals no teeth. He places one hand on my shoulder to give me 3 gentle pats.
Take it as a new opportunity to be broken from scratch. And believe me, it will eventually happen. After all, Espoir is a curious entity. Maybe they'll even enjoy reading that. Who knows?
Don't threaten my puppet. She's doing her best. She's a little bit sassy, but that's okay.
After all, Espoir isn't the one affected.
It's true. We walk in silence after that. The walk is long, with each of our steps echoing through the space. The sound of our steps bounces off the walls like an echo that follows us. We arrive at a giant door, which quickly opens to let us through. Ah! The space inside the door is strange, dark and unsettling, not like the void of Nulla. It reminds me of the night, full of stars that appear and disappear. In the room, there are 4 figures. The ones closest to us are engaged in conversation, as if nothing else matters. Yeah, this is all of our buddies. There's the tree lady, the nature lady, who we have to sanctify her apples. There's Dua, who's beaten me up multiple times. I think that's the moon lady. They are very close to each other. I suppose they must have some sort of relationship. They're about to press their lips together when Septem makes his presence known by stepping into the room, and both entities look on curiously. Septem laughs with a hint of tenderness, and it's strange.
Due, don't let your guard down.
Septem. The voice resonates throughout the entire space. Then, the entities fix their eyes on me, as if I were some kind of freak. No, they watch me as if I were the main attraction of a circus. Great. The first is a 3-headed entity approaching, and closely behind follows an entity draped in a red robe. The other, noticing this, laughs and takes her hand. Don't be so tense, Due. Both approach us and greet Septem respectfully, with lowered eyes and a slight bow of the head. Horrible. This thing earns no one's respect. Then they look at me, and they gaze at me with the same devotion and respect as they did at Septem. I don't like it. You are Espoir?
Yes?
I answer with all the confidence I have.
Yes.
Thank you so much for what you're doing. We never thought we'd be hurt by another being as powerful as you. Before I can answer, Septem opens his mouth.
This creator isn't very communicative.
Communicative. I don't talk much, he says while looking at me with piercing eyes. Okay, I get the hint, darn it. Just like before, huh?
They are Due and Quator, the firmament on the moon.
Ah, I recognize them. They're from Septem's memories. Then the ones at the table must be Sexton and Tria. Don't just stand there. Come on. I've prepared tea. Septem walks straight to the table after Sexton's call. and the other two follow him too, like little ducklings following their mother. Ah, if you were here, Espoir, everything would be so much easier. Don't worry me, I'm still there with you. I'm there in spirit, I'm rooting you on. We sit at the table, which is laden with all kinds of foods, both sweet and savory. However, no one eats except for Septem. The other entities introduce themselves, though there's something odd about Sexton. Yeah, she's staring directly into my soul. Her eyes are fixed on mine, following my every move, but I try to ignore it, smile and keep silent. That's what Septem wants, so that he won't be caught up in this lie. In that way, I'll be able to recover Espoir after this meeting. The entities talk about trivialities that don't matter to me, and I don't want to hear. Well, I want to hear it. Listen up, me. But it can be summed up by them telling Septem what they've been up to. Much to my dismay, he listens attentively and responds energetically, and without any passive-aggressive remarks. Incredible. Even his aura seems to have changed. Even though he still has that angelic face, this Septem is not the one I know. Who is this benevolent being, and what did he do to the original Septem? He disgusts me so much that I long for the Septem I once knew. Honestly, I thought we'd all go crazy before returning to normal. It hurts that you don't have faith in me. It's not that. I know the situation is getting out of your hands. Due makes an awkward comment. I'm glad you managed to find another creator. I think our midnight prayers really paid off. I hope this one is more responsible. It will be. When will Sextem be able to regain the power to create humans? I have to make some preparations first. That doesn't bother you, does it, Sextem? Sextem doesn't respond. Her gaze remains fixed on me. How frightening. How can someone so cute be so scary? Sextem? Ah! Sextem blinks a couple of times before fixing her gaze on Septem. Of course not, Septem. I wouldn't want to rush you and jeopardize Espoir's sacred bond with the garden. I don't like this entity. To ignore the discomfort, I focus on eating, and the other entities look at me in surprise, though they say nothing. The rest of the meeting passes without much fuss or glory. It's like a family gathering, except that I'm the guest with no ties to anyone in the family. But somehow everyone respects it. The moment of farewell arrives, and all the entities affirm that they're very grateful for my intervention in the garden, stressing that they will do whatever it takes to make me feel proud. I can sense the uncertainty radiating from them. Why say that? Didn't the creator feel proud and leave them because of it? How was their relationship with the former creator? Due and Quator have vanished together, leaving behind a trail of bright lights that blend together. The moment Tria vanishes, the room begins to change. Oh, transforming into the garden of Septem's domain. And only Septem and Sextem remain, along with me. Septem, can we have a meeting tomorrow? Why not now? I have to go pray at the church. That's no longer necessary. Septem. Sexton looks at Septem with pain, and I wish I knew why. All right, we'll talk tomorrow, but I'll come visit you. She knows, doesn't she? Without saying another word, Sextem lowers her head in farewell, and leaves walking out the door. There's a silence between them. Septem glances at you sideways. You feel as if a weight has been lifted off of you, and you realize it's because Septem has regained his seventh eye. Oh. Wait, Espoir? You're bound to me once again. Septem turns to face you. Don't worry me, I'm back. I've been here the whole time. I never left you. I've been right here. Welcome back, Espoir. He slowly raises his hand to touch your forehead. Good night, Espoir. See you tomorrow. Wait, I just got here. And your vision begins to blur. Wait! Suddenly, you stop hearing the faint ambient sounds. Ah! I know it's not, but why does your altar look like a cardboard box?
Days pass slowly in Septem's domain, where all you can do is eat and sleep. Throw in playing video games in there and drawing, and that would be perfect. Septem barely interacts with you. He prefers spending most of his time in the library. You're convinced he hasn't slept in ages, and you suspect that, while you sleep, he remains absorbed in his reading. In the few times you've seen him, you've noticed a disturbing change in his appearance. His hands are entirely black. Just like your hands, and you've lost some sensation there.
But there's nothing to worry about, Espoir. Your hands still work.
Search for Septem? Go to sleep? Let's search for Septem.
You're getting bored. You need to speak with Septem, whether to resolve some pending issues, or simply for his company, or maybe ask why your hands are turning black.
Having decided that, you head to the library, intent on facing him directly.
Aww.
When you arrive, you find him with his hands on his head, overwhelmed by stress. It's hard to see him like this. It's clear that Septem is used to controlling everything, and anything beyond his grasp seems to overwhelm him. Make yourself noticed, retreat. I'm probably gonna regret it, but... Hey, buddy. Sorry to bug you, but I think you need to relax. I think you need a little vacation. You gently knock on the ajar library door. Septem looks up, his gaze fixed on you, his expression silently questioning what you want and why you dare to interrupt him. I suppose it's been a long time without anything interesting, Espoir. He pauses for a prolonged moment, as if assessing your presence, then adds with a slight smile, Go ahead. I grant you permission to proceed. Won't it harm you? Without broken bones or an outrageously disproportionate death? You don't believe it.
I don't trust it. We should go back.
You know, I think it's cool. I think it's okay. He gave us permission. I think it's okay. You enter the room slowly, carefully controlling every movement so as to not disturb anything. No abrupt movements, and neither too fast nor too slow a pace. You approach his desk, but hesitate. Should you sit? The answer comes quickly. No, not without his permission. You know the nature of the blonde. Well, defying his rules, even accidentally, could have serious consequences. You don't want to die over something you could have easily avoided if you had been more attentive. Sit down. You do, though inside you can't help but feel a slight resentment. Reluctantly, if I might add. You do, though inside you can't help but feel a slight resentment. Reluctantly, if I may add. Tell me, what do you need? The hands of my puppet, you look terrible about mother, goodbye. Seriously, Boo, you look awful. Poor baby. Septem looks at you with narrowed eyes. Me? No.
Don't you guys need rest too? You look exhausted.
We look awesome.
It's this mortal body's fault. Believe me, my intention is not to break it, but we are against time. When I find the solution, I'll let it rest for as long as it wants. The hands of my puppet. That wouldn't be a problem if I could find the solution quickly. The more days pass, the more your puppet will rot. Rot? The more you use it, the more you drain your life source. You never release the puppet to let it recover. Even when your puppet sleeps, you're still connected to it, making its time of usefulness pass faster. Is that going to happen when I'm around my babies? Septem takes off the garment covering part of his wrist and arm. For some strange reason, it feels illegal to see that. His arm is also being consumed by the black color that once only adorned his fingers. We're in the same condition. Give me your hand. It wasn't a question. Septem waits with his hand raised for you to give him yours. Aww. With some fear, you place your palm on his. The blond man grabs your hand and squeezes it while examining it. With his thumb, he traces imaginary lines that occasionally stop to trace a new one elsewhere. You avert your gaze to focus on the face of the seventh. His sky-colored eyes are focused intently on the movement of his finger, and despite the pressure his hand exerts on yours, you don't feel the slightest tickle. Oh, Do you feel that?
No.
A subtle smile graces Septem's lips, causing a shiver to run through your body. Gradually, the pressure increases, but you can't remove your hand. You won't give him the satisfaction of seeing your terror, neither on your face nor in your actions. Since it doesn't hurt. Septem squeezes harder and harder, slowly but progressively. The feeling of pressure slowly transforms into pain. You're sure your bones will give in at any moment unless you manage to break free from his grip. There comes a point where you can't take it anymore and yank your hand away to make it clear that enough. But Septem doesn't let you.
Is something wrong, Espoir? Listen, Buki, you need some sleep. You need some oatmeal. You don't got time to be playing games. Let Septem break it. No, I'm going to take care of me. Stop.
Septem lifts his gaze to look at your face, smiling sweetly, stopping the pressure increase, but maintaining it. Oh, sorry, I went a bit too far.
Espoir, thank you. No problem, me.
There's a brief silence before the blonde decides how to continue this interaction. Septem guides your hand to his face, his lips gently brushing against your knuckles, and he watches you. I wonder what expression you'll have. Disgust? Embarrassment? Neutral? Septem smiles and plants a kiss on you, a tender and delicate contact.
Stop!
Without further ado, Septem releases you and puts back on the garment covering his arm.
About Mom?
You tell him what happened while you were asleep. Septem listens to you without interrupting or giving an opinion. While you explain more, Septem's face takes on an air of sadness. Although, at one point during your explanation, Septem lifts his hand, silently asking you to stop. We'll talk about this later. I have other things to solve first. When I find a way for us to join without endangering your experience or mine, we'll solve Mother's problem. But I will keep it in mind.
Oh, all right.
Was that all?
Wait, one more thing.
About the transfusion?
Yeah.
He looks distressed as he listens to you. He takes a moment before answering. I don't know how it will turn out. Septem speaks so slowly that it takes you a moment to understand him. Before you can ask him anything, he clears his throat in order to explain himself. When I gave you one of my eyes, it didn't turn out the way I expected. Something inside this thing forbids me from merging with you. Moreover, it has taken away the little freedom you had to control the puppet. If we do the transfusion, it won't fulfill what I promised, and we'll both be absorbed by the puppet if we continue as planned. It will be a disaster. Septem remains silent for a long time, and you don't know how to fill that awkward silence. Leave.
Oh, all right.
He doesn't even give you the chance to make a decision, as he teleports you to the room where you sleep. You lie in bed, thinking that tomorrow will be just another day, like the ones you've had. You'll have to wait until Septem achieves what he seeks, to do something more interesting. No matter how many hours pass, you can't fall asleep. And you wonder if it's due to the constant light and lack of darkness that makes it unclear when it's time to sleep. Shouldn't you have that automated or something, like room dimmers? I don't know. You figure a stroll through the temple won't hurt. Perhaps if you move a bit, sleep will eventually come. You wander the temple corridors, deliberately avoiding the library because you really don't want to disturb Septem any further. You don't want to lose any part of your body today. As you pass by the altar room, you hear murmurs. You think you hear Septem's voice coming from there, sounding agitated. You approach to see if it really is him. You try to move as delicately as possible, as not to disturb the atmosphere, as Septem would surely notice any conspicuous sounds. It might be saved. I've been working hard to find a solution. Father, please, we're all praying for you. Everyone is asking for your return. Septem isn't angry because you took her humans, and I promise that Nulla regrets having done that to you. It's nothing personal with you, it's just that you remind him of...
Aww. You peek your head out, and there he is, the blonde, kneeling before the altar, with both hands clasped as if supplicating. Now, from this distance, you can discern what those murmurs mean. Aww. It's such a strange sight that you don't know how to react. Return to your room? Stay and listen? Where's the get on your knees and pray with him? He'd probably appreciate that. Well, I'm nosy and I want that lore, so let's stay and listen. Septem takes a breath, meditating, and now, still with his hands clasped together, looks up at the sky and speaks. I don't know your name. Nulla has never been willing to tell me, but please, manifest yourself. I know you're here, one way or another. I understand that your puppet doesn't want to come back here, but I still miss it. I long to see him again and speak with him to soothe my heart. I understand his hatred for Nulla and his condemnation, but don't you think that's too much already? I know you can undo what the demiurge has done and bring him back. I know you can do a lot of things. I promise to do things right this time. I promise not to bore you. I promise to fulfill everything your puppet asks. I promise to be yours. I promise to do things right this time. As long as you bring him back and grant us a peaceful life. I don't want any changes. I prefer that everything goes back to the way it was before. What the heck? That sounds pathetic. Oh, be quiet, me. Be nice.
But if you don't fix the garden, I'll be forced to replace it. And you, too. Change its owner. Espoir seems to be a good candidate. After all, they're still here. I could give them control and the rights to everything within the garden, even if it means eliminating every trace of father and yours. So please, manifest yourself if you don't want me to do it.
Septem waits for a long time. There's no response of any kind. Realizing he's been ignored, he slowly rises and looks at the candle on the ceremonial table. Septem rises and sighs as he fixes his hair. Then he places both hands behind his back to look in the direction where you're hidden.
Do you know that eavesdropping is a tremendous sign of disrespect? You've seen me like this, and I don't like it.
Startled, you fall to your rear. It was obvious, very obvious, that Septem knows you're here. You crawl backwards when you see Septem beginning to advance slowly towards you.
You know, I think you do it on purpose. You seek out these moments, either to know what will happen or because you enjoy watching this puppet suffer.
Shut up!
You're no better than me. You're a sadistic entity.
No, I'm a nosy entity. You're paralyzed, unsure if it's out of fear or because Septem has immobilized you in one way or another. Septem's feet are dangerously close to your left hand. Oh, come on.
That is to say, who would like to see?
Septem places his foot on your hand, gently brushing the back of your hand with the sole of his shoe, as if to warn you of what he'll do.
This. I honestly believe you do it because it doesn't have any real consequence on your integrity, Espoir. You don't care what happens to your puppet, and unfortunately, neither do I. I could easily crush its hand. After all, I think it won't be so necessary in the future.
No!
But today, I feel merciful. Septem laughs. The power dynamic between you and the puppet fascinates me. We both know that the puppet will do everything you tell it to do. So, what will you do?
Protect the puppet! I've bonded with her.
Ah, impressive. I suppose you have some affection for them.
Septem bends down and grabs you by the jaw, forcing you to look him in the eyes. He slowly approaches, and for a moment, you think he will kiss you, but his lips move to your ear, brushing against your skin.
I would love to have this power over you, Espoir.
Stop!
Too bad you're out of my reach.
Hey, Stop looking at me like that!
Septem lets you go and stands up. Get out of here and let your puppet rest. When Septem leaves the altar, you regain control of your body. Without a second thought, you return to your room. A few days pass after that, and you begin to notice something strange about Septem. Now he avoids you as much as he can. The library remains permanently closed, and every time you knock on the door, Septem tells you to leave. But that's not the strange part. The strange thing is his tone of voice. It's not what you'd expect, and it sounds weaker and lower with each passing moment. And you fear that at some point, you won't get a response.
Aww.
One morning, you're awakened by Septem, who is standing at the foot of the bed, smiling, but he no longer looks as angelic as before. He has dark circles that look as if they're tattooed onto his face in black ink. You suppose he hasn't slept in days. Perhaps he's been too busy reading and searching for whatever it is he seeks in the books in his library. I think I know now what the problem is.
Huh? What is he talking about?
The identity of your puppet prevents me from establishing the bond. We need a completely empty body to join.
Was the black stuff always up to his neck? Aw, you can't start this madness so early. Please. You haven't even had your breakfast, and Septem has already begun his antics.
Although you're grateful he isn't commanding you in that harsh tone he usually uses, not today. Today he appears anxious and distressed.
Really?
We have to do it now. Let's go. This time, Septem doesn't teleport you to your destination. Instead, he prefers to walk. But his way of walking is slow, as if he struggles or feels pain moving.
Aww.
At this rate, they'll arrive tomorrow. Just pick him up and carry him bridal style. Ask if he needs help. Septem pauses his walk and turns his head to look at you. His brows furrow, sealing your fate. You shouldn't have asked that.
Come on, I'm trying to be friendly.
Do you intend to help me? For a fraction of a second, you notice his eyebrows rising, evoking an expression you never would have imagined seeing. He looks vulnerable. Although that look is almost instantly erased. Me? He asks as if he didn't believe it.
Yeah, you can lean on me if you need to, buddy.
Septem does not respond verbally. He simply closes his eyes and inhales through his nose before drawing closer to you. But he deigns not to give you anything more than that, choosing instead to wait for you to react and accept it. He looks uncomfortable. It's clear he doesn't like the position he's in. Vulnerable and with no choice but to depend on you. With slow movements and making sure to show him your hands at all times, Septem watches you intently. Slowly, you wrap one of your arms around his waist, and that's all the blonde needs to tense his body.
Aw, are you enjoying this?
Septem places his hand on top of yours and squeezes it weakly, as if unsure of what to do next. You sense that he's not accustomed to physical contact, or perhaps he feels some kind of pain. But if it hurt him, he wouldn't even let you touch him. No, let go of me. Without further ado, he releases your grasp, and in the process, his ankle twists from a misstep.
Aww.
If it weren't for his reflexes, he would already be on the ground. You simply stare at him. It feels strange to see him without that grace he usually exudes in his movements. And, as if nothing had happened, Septem brings his hands together. In doing so, both of you are teleported. You both appear in the altar room, but you don't get a chance to inspect as you see Septem fall to the ground. As you watch him there, pathetically on the ground, you hear him cough and try to clear his throat.
Septem? Don't you die on me, Septem!
Once he has nothing left to cough, Septem freezes. You truly believe he must feel some degree of shame at being seen in such a state, so human. Oh, it feels liberating to see him like this. Sorry, this body can't take it anymore.
Oh.
He rises with difficulty and gives you a quick glance. There are traces of blood on his lips and chin. It's serious. Oh! Seeing him bleed is as bizarre as thinking that Septem might actually die. Can he even die? Perhaps his physical body can. As best as he can, he makes his way to the candle that adorns the ceremonial altar table. He touches the dome, giving it a solemn look, as if he wanted to feel its warmth up close. The answer was always here. It is part of Father. His flesh is here. Okay, honey, I think you're getting a little bit delulu because of lack of sleep. Material of a primordial god. No. Don't get me started on flames and primordial gods, because then you get the first flames, and you get bonfires, and then you get Ornstein and Smo, and you don't want that. We will use it to create a completely divine body. Okay. Septem offers you his hand and awaits your response. I know you still have many doubts, but I promise that when we join together, you will know everything. Without the need for me to explain it to you. You will see everything through my eyes. We will become one and leave behind these finite bodies. What will happen to the bodies? Mine will regain its individuality. Yours, unfortunately, will have to die. I cannot risk any trace of Nulla's walking around the garden. What? Do you suppose I'm from Nulla? You're mistaken. I only serve Espoir. I don't suppose. I know it. My eyes sensed it when I bonded with you. He has access to you, and once you set your eyes on him, it will be the beginning of the end. You must let go of Espoir. No, Espoir, don't do this to me. Septem looks at you in silence. Look, me, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You have to do something to let them live. Can't they be, separate? Do you care about the puppet? Please, I'm trying to help you. Don't let them die. Maybe we can think of something. Septem begins to cough again. We must hurry, or he will die. Is he referring to his puppet? Give me your hand. You grasp his hand tightly, and Septem begins to recite chants in words you cannot understand. Father, with this sacred body, I shall fulfill my ultimate will for a new age without your presence or condemnation. I will take both souls and merge them into one, creating divinity in body and soul, and forgive us our offenses. Something in the room changes. The space gradually disappears, leaving behind an absolute white, where only you, Septem, and the candle remain. Gradually, the white begins to mutate, giving rise to small flashes of light and dust. The candle expands its form with each passing minute, stretching out abnormally. Searching for a form, searching for a figure, searching for the perfect form of a human body. Transfer the eyes of this greater entity into a new body. You feel an intense pain in your eyes, as if they were being pressed against your will, as if they were burning them, as if they were being torn out by force. Transfer my essence into this new body, and let us become one. You stop seeing. You stop hearing. Everything turns black. A blinding light floods your mind, relentless and unyielding. It's irritating, and the only way to escape it is to open your eyes. But it's incredibly difficult, as if something is still holding you back from doing so. You try and try, but to no avail. Your eyes refuse to obey your commands. Until something, a spark, runs through your entire body from your feet to your head. Espoir, this is going to hurt a little. You hear Septem's voice, but not through your ears. No, his voice originates inside your mind, as if he's speaking directly into your thoughts. You don't have time to focus on the voice, as your skin begins to burn. You feel it tearing apart slowly,
painfully and torturously. Then your entire body starts to change. You feel bones and organs exploding and forming inside you, replacing those that have any imperfections. You want to scream, but you hold it in. Just when you think the worst is over, you feel your heart tear over and over again. With each attempt, it's never satisfying, never turning out the way you want. No, it has to be perfect. You try once more and that's it. You open your eyes, and your vision is... all you see is the blinding white of your mind. Fear creeps in. It's strange to see with these eyes. Something is terribly wrong. Is that you, me? Is that me, you? Are you still here? Are you okay? We're still not fully synced. You look at your hands and... They're Septem's hands, but they no longer have the distinctive black hue. Oh, that's good. You're in Septem's body. We are gorgeous. We are even more gorgeous than before. We are positively radiating. Do you like it? Though we won't be like this for long. Now that we have the Creator's power, I can create you an entirely new body. Oh, okay. Physically separate from mine, but connected in soul. But I need time. In the meantime, we could say that I'm your puppet now. You can use me the same way you used your old one. How lovely. End of Act 2. I enjoy this arrangement. Okay, so going back, making some alternate choices. What if I reject him and summon Raphael? So I have a feeling that this will be a very bleak and short ending, but what if we say, no, I'm not going to merge with you. In fact, I'm going to give power over to your puppet Raphael. Boom. You prepare to say his name, praying to every kind deity that this works. Well, if not, Septem will kill you. As he does. I want an audience with Raphael. What? Septem falls to the floor, as if an invisible weight fell on top of him when pronouncing the name of his counterpart. And you stay there, waiting for something to happen. In progress of elaboration. You'll have to wait a bit to have this date. Okay, so that part's not done yet either. Alright, so I think that's all of Act 2 with Septem. That's pretty cool. I wonder what's gonna happen in Act 3 and beyond if we're in Septem's body. Well, he said he's gonna make a new body for us, but now he apparently has the power of a creator. So does that mean he has the power to, like, change stuff in the game? Because he knows it's a game, and the developer of the game is the creator, so now he basically... Does this mean he has the power of a game developer? Well, if you would like to see my playthrough of any of the other characters, or even Act 1, there will be a link in the description. There will be a thingy at the end of this video, and also there might be something floating about my head, I'm not really sure. I finished Act 2 of Unum's, and we had our beautiful, lovely children. If you haven't seen that episode, it's around here somewhere. And after this will be Act 2 of Nulla's route. I love Nulla so very much. I love them all. They're all great, but Nulla's the one who haunts me. So whereas Septem wanted to save the garden, Nulla wants to destroy it. How far will he get to doing that? This and more on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. Anyway, be sure to give this video a like or even subscribe as we're trying to make it to 100,000 subscribers. And feel free to look around my channel for more really cool visual novels. But until next time, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Take care of yourself, have a great night, and remember, there is always hope.